Hello, Canada. Hello, United States of America. Greetings to all of you here in Panama and all over the planet. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Kevin J. Johnston Show that runs every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on freedomreport.ca and facebook.com/God knows how many. There's 40 plus Facebook pages that we're on tonight. We're on TikTok at Real Kevin J. Johnston. We're on Kick at Kevin J. We're everywhere. We're all over the place because we kind of have to be. And we got the amazing and astounding and gorgeous. She is kind of hot, isn't she? Lisa Robinson will be joining us in about 30 to 40 minutes. She is on the highway right now. Just gave me a call and said that she will be in the green room shortly to be joining us. I just got to reflect on who Lisa Robinson is for those who do not remember the first 4 times she came on the show. City councilor in the city of Pickering, right next door to Toronto. Pickering is a place that not too many people really care about because it's what you call a satellite city of Toronto. And the city councilors, all of them, except for her, love Black Lives Matter, the terrorist organization that steals money and buys large mansions. That's what BLM stands for. I'm going to tell you this right now. I lived in Harlem. I lived in West Philadelphia. I lived in Biloxi. I lived in Denver. I've lived everywhere where the vast majority of the populace was. Atlanta was another one where it's like 80% Black. I can tell you this. Black people don't like each other enough to form coalitions like what Black Lives Matter really is. And I know this. I have done everything imaginable in reference to Black street culture. I know it inside and out. So for you people who want to call me racist, you know what the answer is, eh? Like the way the Italians say it. Here we are. No, I don't care what your opinion is. I'm just telling you that Black Lives Matter is run by very wealthy white people. They have found a couple of Black suckers, like in Toronto, it was Yusra Kogali and her brother Walid Kogali, the guy that was so terrified when he met me face to face, he ran to the police. Yeah, remember him? I just wanted to say hi. That's all it was. So they found these 2 half-Black idiots and put them in charge of the entire Black Lives Matter movement, but it was funded by rich white folks. Why? To spread left-wing is Black Lives Matter is a left-wing communist terror group. No two ways about it. So is Antifa, and so is the Ottawa Communist League and the Toronto Communist, whatever it is. And for all you kids out there who are thinking about joining groups like Black Lives Matter and Antifa, can I just remind all of you what the Hamilton, Ontario Antifa guys did? Would you like me to tell you that story? I'm going to. The initiation is that you have to have sex with a large stuffed animal with the whole group of Antifa freakazoids watching. That's not me telling you this for any reason other than they got caught doing this. That's Hamilton Antifa. You know, the big tough guys that have the Coke bottle glasses and they've got arms this thick and whatnot. Them. But these are all groups that are well funded by the Liberal Party of Canada and well funded by Liberal and the Democrat groups in the United States all over the Western world to cause chaos. And the police, as gutless as they are in Canada, could still do something about it, but they don't because they've been instructed to let Black Lives Matter run amok and destroy things, let Antifa run amok and destroy things, and only arrest gorgeous hunks of male like me who criticize it. Yeah. So when City Councilor Lisa Robinson indicated that she was not a fan of Black Lives Matter, even that ridiculous and pathetic TV show on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation called This Hour Has 22 Minutes. They showed her speaking and they had some black guy, half black guy, cracking jokes that weren't funny. And a whole bunch of white guys, beta cuck males sitting around him going, laughing at his non-jokes. Yeah. Let me tell you what a non-joke is, just so you get a sense of how unfunny they all are. My high school was so tough. The yearbook was shaped like a canoe. It's not funny, all right? You think you've heard a joke. They think they've told a joke, but it's not funny. And that's exactly the type of thing that the CBC was putting out in relation to Lisa Robinson. Well, Lisa has given a couple of speeches now, and we're going to bring this one up and we're going to play it. Now, it's a 24-minute speech, so I'm going to play it at 1.25 speed. The volume is low. So what you all could do watching on Rumble and on all the other platforms on PC or Mac, heaven forbid, is turn your volume up a little bit during this video. And we're going to bring Lisa on the show after this video concludes. And here we go.
Personal agendas. Our bylaws are being broken repeatedly, catering to special interest groups and developers, while the voices of ordinary citizens like
you guys hear it?
Are being silenced. In recent months, Pickering Council has introduced draconian, undemocratic policies that limit public participation and transparency within our beloved chambers. Delegation time limits have been slashed from 10 minutes to 5. The public is no longer allowed to record public meetings, and the media too is barred from recording unless given a 2/3 majority of council's approval.
Of course.
And already, council has shown their true colors by voting against a media whose outlet holds opposing views.
Of course.
Residents from outside of Pickering, including Durham residents, are prohibited from participating in our meetings unless the topic is approved by 2/3 majority. This, despite we contract with their governments as well, and the fact that 4 of our council members sit at the Durham Region Council. Even Pickering residents are now being silenced from speaking openly, freely in our chambers, unless their topic has been scrutinized under a microscope and approval given by a mover and a seconder and 2/3 vote. Now, let's be clear. If the council doesn't want to hear what you have to say, or if they don't like your opinions, they will silence you. They're effectively forbidding you from having a voice. This is not just a disregard for free speech. It is an outright attack on your right to be heard. Let's talk about the new nebulous trespass policies, what I like to call the hurt feelings bylaw. These draconian rules give the council the power to banish anyone based on flimsy excuses like social media posts, language, their tone of voice, or even what someone might be wearing if it happens to offend someone.
Tone of voice.
This isn't just a policy. It's a blatant attempt to silence dissent, crush opposing views, and manipulate the narrative to fit their agendas, their views, and to control their narrative. We've seen what looks like an outrageous manipulation in the city's YouTube feeds of our council and committee meetings. There's been time jumps, white noise, and possible signs of audio tampering. When I push for an independent third party to record our meetings to ensure moving forward that these recordings were accurate and transparent, since the public is no longer allowed to record, the city of Pickering flatly, outright refused. This isn't just poor governance, it's outright tyranny. Our councils and governments are intoxicated with power. It seems to give them a perverse pleasure to divide us, to make us feel helpless, to instill fear in those who dare to hold opposing opinions. This toxic culture is ruining relationships, it's tearing families apart, and forcing people to live in constant fear of speaking their minds, their truths. This nightmare needs to end, and will only end if we, the people, rise above the nonsensical nonsense they are trying to impose on each and every one of us. It's absolutely scandalous how taxpayer dollars are being squandered on frivolous spending at every single level of government, while critical needs like providing clean drinking water to our First Nation communities are callously ignored, despite countless failed promises of keeping our duty to consult. As of this past July, 31 First Nations communities remain under long-term drinking water advisories. This is not just a failure, it is a betrayal. We hear endless land acknowledgements, but these are nothing more than empty words, or what I like to say, lip service, when it's not backed by real action. Our First Nations people deserve access to clean, safe drinking water, and it's our solemn duty to push and deliver on the promise, no matter what level of government. But the disgrace doesn't stop there. Our homeless population is increasing, and our food banks are struggling to keep food on the shelves, while our governments and city officials who are supposed to protect and serve us are instead taxing us deeper into poverty. Yet their wages and benefits continue to increase, while they sit idly by, letting our most vulnerable citizens suffer in silence. Our government continues to waste taxpayer dollars on lavish perks for elected officials and city staff, sending funds abroad to other countries without addressing the suffering of our own people. Millions of dollars are being funneled into the consultant fees and reports that are hidden from the public, and thousands of dollars are spent on politicians to attend events that serve only to benefit the politicians and the vendors who wine and dine them for future business. Maybe the premier could put legislation in place that would disallow any elected official and city staff from receiving gifts and benefits from developers, vendors, special interest groups, or anyone lobbying the government
Those
for
asking,
business.
this is Lisa
Maybe
Robinson,
politicians should be
City
wearing these
Council,
lobbyist logos
City of
on their
Pickering in Canada,
jackets
doing the speaking.
to show transparency of who supports them, so people can keep track of how they vote and see where their loyalty lies. Rob Ford was a true champion of fiscal responsibility.
Yes, he
unafraid
was.
to call out the wasteful perks enjoyed by city employees.
Yes, he
He
did.
was determined to keep politicians and public servants in line, ensuring that every dollar of taxpayer money was spent wisely. This corruption must end. The city of Pickering, on top of all of their wasteful spending, is also vindictive, hateful, and they even voted to spend $200,000 of your taxpayers' dollars to fight me in a judicial review, instead of paying me $15,000 plus in lost salary that I was financially sanctioned on the recommendation by Principals Integrity for doing my job on behalf of my constituents. It's deeply troubling that integrity commissioners who hold significant power over elected officials are themselves unelected and paid by the very municipalities that they oversee. This creates an inherent conflict of interest, with their loyalty may lie more with those who sign their paychecks and with the principles of fairness and accountability. I ask, do we really need them? They have only been implemented in the last few years, yet they wield immense influence over the democratic processes. Council and the corporation of the city of Pickering and all levels of government need to remember that it's your money. It's meant to be used judicially for the common good, not for self-serving agendas. This is not just mismanagement. It's a criminal neglect of duty. In Pickering, the Integrity Commissioner has audaciously pushed for and was granted changes to our policies and procedures to ensure their integrity reports cannot be questioned from the public or anyone else. This is nothing short of a blatant effort to shield their actions from scrutiny and undermine transparency and public trust. When you realize that Principals Integrity, the firm the corporation of the city pays and relies on, is serving 65 other municipalities across Ontario, it's evident that their impartiality is severely compromised. In my personal experience, the Integrity Commissioner has proven to be untrustworthy and biased. They have repeatedly lied, failed to investigate complaints thoroughly, and refused to answer any questions from those they accuse, effectively preventing individuals from clearing their names. Let me be absolutely clear. This is a rigged system. The integrity of a process where those responsible for upholding fairness and instead serving the corporation's interests, not ours. It's fundamentally flawed. It's high time our premier steps in and enacts legislation to protect the public's interest and prevent officials from manipulating the system to shield their misconduct. We need reforms that ensure accountability and transparency, not a facade of integrity designed to protect the corrupt. In Pickering and throughout Canada, we are also witnessing a disturbing trend where the right to personal dignity is being stripped away from men, women, boys, and girls in spaces that should be safe. Bathrooms, change rooms. People are being forced to share these spaces with members of the opposite sex.
Yes, they
leading
are.
to a widespread discomfort and real psychological harm to some.
Yeah,
What's
like
even more
6-year-old
troubling
girls.
is that only members 18 years and older at our personal recreation complex are protected to use spaces aligned with their biological sex, leaving children and those who can't afford memberships vulnerable and unprotected from these same rights. This is not just unfair. In my opinion, it's downright disgusting. We are discriminating against the most vulnerable among us. Our children and those who lack the means to protect themselves are having to beg to use biological change rooms. This is inhumane. It's absolutely absurd that these changes have only emerged since COVID. For as long as we've all existed, nobody has ever had to beg for their basic right to use their biological washroom. It's disturbing beyond belief. And anyone ever thought that this was a good idea? I just don't understand. What we are witnessing is a catastrophic lapse in common sense, leading to dangerous consequences. Globally, there have been too many tragic incidences in these spaces because these are not isolated events and they can no longer be ignored. This isn't about politics. It's about the safety and the well-being of our citizens. We must safeguard their right to personal dignity and stop sacrificing them on the altar under the guise of political correctness. I urge Premier Ford and all other members of Parliament to implement common sense legislation before it's too late. I am certain that neither Premier Ford nor any other parliamentarian want to change in spaces with children, let alone with children of the opposite sex. And if you do, then your values too will become very questionable. Our citizens absolutely deserve to be safe and our children protected, and we cannot allow this misguided policy to continue anymore. With all of the bullying, intimidation, threats, and attacks on my character, sexual harassment and psychological harassment that I have had to endure, and the corruption, the collusion, and what I consider bribery that I have witnessed, I have suggested that all members of the council be investigated for wrongdoings. Yet not a single member, not even the mayor, would second that motion. So what does that tell you? Because to me, it's very telling when those who cry the loudest about integrity refuse to have their own actions scrutinized. If they have nothing to hide, why didn't they support an investigation? This silence from council speaks volumes. We are also witnessing a troubling trend of our city catering to special interest groups at the expense of our own procedures and bylaws, principles of fairness and equality. Time and again, procedures and bylaws have been selectively enforced or outright ignored to serve the agendas of a few, rather than the common good. Rules for me, but not for thee. This selective enforcement has not only broken the trust between the government and the people, but has also eroded the rule of law in our very own city. Over the past few months, Mr. Mayor and fellow councillors have been participating in a downright dangerous game to lobby the provincial government to change the Municipal Act so they can remove a sitting elected member. This is a direct attack on democracy, where the people, not politicians, should have the power to decide who it is that actually represents them. If this change is allowed, it opens a door to unchecked abuse of power where dissenting voices can be silenced at will. It's a blatant attempt to consolidate control and eliminate opposition, turning our councils into echo chambers for all those that are in power.
That's Ed Smoker's cough.
It is not only happening in Pickering, but in other municipalities as well. And any elected official pushing for this should step down immediately for betraying the very democratic process that we were all elected to protect. This move isn't just undemocratic, it's authoritarian. We must fiercely oppose any effort to strip the people of their right to have a voice and to choose their leaders. Our duty is to serve. It's not to rule the people. It is also disgraceful to see politicians at all levels of government using name-calling and shameful rhetoric to silence and intimidate those who dare to speak up. These tactics are designed to stop people from expressing their concerns and to create nothing more than an environment of fear. Let me be absolutely clear. This disgraceful behavior starts at the top. with Trudeau and you, Premier Ford. You've set the tone, and now my mayor and fellow councillors thinks it's perfectly acceptable to stoop to your level. And it's no wonder that this garbage has trickled down to fake Facebook accounts and keyboard warriors who think that they can hide behind screens
Yep.
and hurl insults without consequences to those with opposing views within each and every one of our communities. You've all set a very shameful example. It is absolutely appalling to see my fellow politicians behave this way, spreading vile rhetoric to silence and intimidate anyone who dares to oppose them and speak their truth. This pathetic tactics are nothing but a coward's way to stifle free speech and breed fear. Only spineless cowards hide behind such childish nonsense. Real leaders engage in real conversations.
We have none of those in
And
Canada
they
anymore
address
at all.
issues with both respect and dignity and integrity.
There's none of that either.
Those who stoop to name calling and character assassination have no place in leadership. If politicians can't uphold the dignity of their office, then they should step down, because this kind of toxic behavior is a stain on our democracy, and we are much better than that. Again, I have personally faced relentless bullying, intimidation, and threats from my mayor and fellow councillors, including financial sanctions, name calling, and persistent lies attacking my character, all because I am standing up for what is right, just like I am doing here today. But these are not just attacks on me. They are attacks on the very principles of integrity, honesty, and accountability that should guide all politicians' actions. In my opinion, our municipality, like many others, need to be torn down, and they need to be rebuilt, given power back to the people where it rightfully belongs. And the rot doesn't stop at our city, not at our councils, our provincial or our federal governments, or even other institutions. Historically, Canada had defamation laws and journalistic standards that aim to prevent the spread of false information. However, with the rise of digital media and the push for sensationalism, these standards have eroded, allowing biased and misleading reports to flourish. The
And the
CBC
CBC
and
gets
other
paid for
journalists have become a disgrace, promoting rumors using clickbait titles instead of investigating the truth. They have become another group paid to report certain narratives that fit only their agenda rather than the facts. This is not journalism. It is sensationalism, or if I may be so crude to say, BS. And it's nothing other than a betrayal of the public's trust. I call on Premier Ford again to bring back legislation that demands an accurate reporting by all journalists based on facts and hold media accountable for their role in spreading misinformation. I would also like to ask Premier Ford to have a serious conversation with Prime Minister Trudeau about the millions of dollars being funneled into the CBC.
Those two can't be serious.
This government funding looks more like bribery than support for unbiased journalism. If we were truly committed to media transparency and to integrity, we need to stop propping up an organization that increasingly serves as a mouthpiece rather than a check on power. Let's put an end to this questionable financial relationship and restore faith to all of our public institutions. It is also disheartening to see how DEI, which we all know as diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Yeah, pervert
initiatives
stuff.
which are intended to foster inclusivity,
Losers.
have instead become sources of nothing more than division and exclusion.
And making more losers.
DEI policies are being banned as they are increasingly recognized for their counterproductive effects, fostering division rather than unity, and indoctrinating individuals to adhere to a specific narrative. In
Yeah,
Pickering,
perverts.
DEI is being enforced across all areas of the corporation,
By a
including the
pedophile
hiring
mayor.
process, which is deeply troubling. Such policies should not lead to discrimination based on skin color, religious beliefs, or sexual preferences.
Yeah, who cares what you do in bed?
I was the only one who
Keep your
voted
mouth
against
shut.
its implementation because as a leader, I recognize the importance of seeing what everyone else can see, but I can think differently and I can question if what is being presented is universally beneficial or not. Our approach must reflect true inclusivity, promoting equality and respect for all individuals. This solution is straightforward. Treat everyone equally and fairly based on their merit and on their character, united under the red and white flag of our country, our Canadian flag.
Yeah, not
We
that
should
rainbow
not be
shit.
segregating people into groups by the color of their skin, their religious beliefs, or their sexual preferences, which are really only designed to divide us. This approach will ensure that our policies genuinely serve the common good, rather than creating new forms of exclusion. It's our duty as politicians to remain in a state of neutrality and not cause division by a hierarchy of beliefs and of chaos. This is not about being left or right. It is about what is right and what is wrong. It is about common sense for common people. The name calling we see from politicians at all levels of government used to silence and shame those who dare to speak up is absolutely disgusting. Only cowards, again, hide behind such childish rhetoric, not leaders.
That's
Those who
every
engage in it
politician
should
in Canada.
apologize, or
My
they should
God.
step down, for they are not fit to lead. Our municipalities need to be torn down and rebuilt with integrity, transparency, and respect for all of the people that they actually serve. We must return power to where it belongs, in the hands of the people. Our children deserve to grow up free from political agendas that impose adult issues on them, especially when it comes to making life-altering decisions about their bodies.
Yeah, don't cut your
Do not
tits
allow
off.
children to be
Yeah.
pressured into choices
Don't
that
cut your
involve
dick off. Don't do
irreversible
that.
hormone blockers or surgeries that
Don't
remove
take any of
healthy
that stuff.
body parts.
Please.
These are decisions with lifelong consequences that no child should be forced to make. Let our children be children. Let them learn to grow in an environment of respect, of dignity, and of safety, where their innocence is preserved and their well-being is prioritized. It's our duty to protect their future, ensuring that they have time and freedom to discover who they are without the weight of adult controversies on their young shoulders. We should be teaching our children that no safe adult will ask them to keep secrets. As for our government claiming transparency and accountability, these have become mere buzzwords, not practices. We are not elected to cater to developers, special interest groups, or to make friends with those with deep pockets, following along with the status quo. Yet we see our leaders doing exactly that, pushing through agendas that benefit the few at the expense of the many. We need to be a government that serves the people, not one that keeps serving itself. We need to be leaders who listen, who act with integrity, and who put the public good above all else. We need to restore transparency, accountability, and trust in our institutions. And we need to
That's not
stand
coming
up
back.
to those bullies, the corrupt officials, and the special interest groups who are trying to take away everyone's rights.
That's for you. Okay, I'm gonna
This is-
pause there because I want to make a comment if I could now. That last message there is that we have to stand up to these bullies, and they're not bullies, they're losers. They're just angry individuals who got picked on when they were young in school, and now it's their turn to pick on people. For those who are on, if you're not on freedomreport.ca, unfortunately on TikTok, you won't see it. But look at these three idiots here. These are three city councilors in the city of Pickering, Ontario. The guy on the right, angry as hell because he's goofy. Look at him. He's got a very weird stature. Yeah, he's tall, but he's got a immense pot belly. There's something wrong with his spine, which makes his stomach stick out further. And he's bald and he can't handle it. Look at him. I mean, in this photograph, his professionally done photograph, they put fake hair on his head. Do you notice how I don't dye my hair or my beard? You guys notice that? I like my gray. I am not ashamed of being 50, almost 53. 2 weeks from now, 53. Not ashamed at all. Then look at the slob in the middle. Remember how I talked about this? You all say, well, gee whiz, Kevin, why do you always have to point out that people are fat? It's because when someone is an immense fat freak, like what you're seeing in the middle of the screen right now, that's that naggy idiot. This is someone that has no self-respect and no self-control. It's difficult, everybody, to have a six-pack and have, perfect muscles and whatnot. That's difficult. Attainable for most, but difficult. However, it's extremely easy to not look like that fat slob in the middle of the screen right now, Nagy, who eats herself almost to death, it would seem. She has a nose ring like, that's what she's got. That's not a leader. Leaders do not look like these three people here. These are three slobs that are walking through life, living cushy lives, I might add, making too much money, which is not even theirs. It's yours. It's the tax dollars out there that they are collecting and that they are spending. So if you're a morbidly obese woman, you should not be in charge of anything. And I have come across way too many morbidly obese women in charge of way too many things. Not-for-profit organizations, political groups, schools, educational centers, adult educational centers, the whole bit. And one thing I can tell you this about fat women, everybody, and I don't give a crap what any of you have to say about this, but they tend to be angry. You know what happens when a really good-looking, fit woman who actually cares about her appearance walks in the room? Man, bitch, I hate her. They turn to the friggin' Hulk, minus the muscles and the good looks. That's what they turn into. Literally, they are angry as hell because they know they're not respected. But if you want to earn respect, first off, lose weight. Go to the gym. Do your very best to not look your age. Just compare my face to Wilford Brimley at the exact same age at 52. He looked 80 at 52. I refuse to look like that, because if I'm going to get up on stage and tell you that I know what I'm talking about, I better friggin' look the part. I had better look the part. I cannot be someone whose physical stature you look at and say, what a friggin' slob. Look at that. He ate his kids. Yeah, you're not going to listen to anything I've got to say at that point. And I'm not listening to anything that Nagy has to say, or that David Pickles guy, or whatever his name is. I'm not listening to anyone who presents themselves like that in a public setting. So this is not a matter of I hate fat people. This is a matter of I cannot stand laziness. And I cannot stand the fact that as Canadians and Americans, we have decided that this is okay. And I'm telling you, it's not okay. It really isn't. We need to go back to strong individuals who took care of themselves, who learned how to speak publicly, who spoke with grace, who had good manners, who cared about everything except for their salary. And that's all that modern politicians care about right now. How much power they can hold on to as weak losers, and how much money they can get on the side doing it. This is Kevin Ass, everybody. This is the mayor of Pickering. He looks like he's close to my age, only a little bit. He actually looks about 70 years of age. This is not somebody who should be in charge of anything. And we're about to hear him speak publicly in a second, so you'll understand what I'm saying. And there is the morbidly obese Mara Nagy, who took her bull nose ring out for this photograph. But the fact that she's in what we would call a nice shirt is the same idea as pouring perfume on a pig. It's pointless. I'm not taking her or the pig out on a date. And I will never be seen in public with them, and I respect neither. So without further ado, everybody, we have Lisa Robinson back on the Kevin J. Johnston Show. Hey, good to see you once again. Microphone. There we are.
Hi, how are you tonight?
Well, it's me. It's me. You know what the answer is.
Of course I do.
But I'm wonderful, and thank you for asking. Alrighty, so that speech you gave in Ottawa, my understanding is this, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Ed, that tall guy that we talk to once in a while on this show, he filmed the whole thing, and CPAC filmed the whole thing, and now we are the only ones to have ever played it publicly. Is that correct?
That is correct. For some reason, I got censored with CPAC. I actually called them today. I've been trying to call them over the last couple of days, and I haven't been able to get through. Today, I actually got through to somebody, and I posed the question, but they told me that they would call me back and let me know once they spoke to somebody up in that.
Of course they will.
I haven't heard anything as of yet, but I'm confident that they will get back to me. They said either by phone or by email, so hopefully I'll know something more tomorrow. But I really hope that they take a look at the video again and they decide that they will post it, because we are missing the first few lines of my speech there. I don't know if anyone noticed, but
I did notice. I think Ed was probably pressing the record button at the same time as cigarette mouth. Right. Is that right, Ed? He'll come on and defend himself shortly, I'm sure. Lisa, before we go any further, I got to do this one little thing. Kent Wilds, the owner of Wilds K&M Services, would like to invite you to hire him and his company, the best landscaping and snow removal company in all of Southwestern Ontario, serving Kincardine and the greater area. Get a hold of them right now at 519-395-5500. That's right, 519-395-5500. These people are remarkable. They are sweet. They get the job done right. They get it done right the first time, completely affordable and very professional. And by the way, they're so good at what they do. They are expanding, now hiring skilled truck drivers. Get a hold of them right now. One more time. That's Wilds K&M Services at 519-395-5500. All right, Lisa, tell everybody who you are and give us just the briefest of rundowns about what's going on with you and with them. Go ahead.
Well, it's definitely been a journey ever since I became a city councilor of Pickering. It's hard. People just don't like the truth. And, when I got into politics, it was like, I'm not your typical politician. I'm just somebody who really, really cares a lot and wants to get to the bottom of things. I want to make sure that the truth and I wanted to serve the people. And
one more thing. Sorry, I gotta say it. And you're the only one that showers. Look at them. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Continue. Don't laugh at that. Don't you dare smile at anything I say.
I'm trying not to. Honestly, I am. But oh my goodness. Yeah, but and I became a politician because I want to serve the people. I want to see, a better life for everybody, for our future generations to come. And I mean, I knew politics was a dirty game. I just didn't realize how dirty it was. And the censorship is completely, it's very disturbing what's happening in Pickering right now. And it feels like, it's almost like it's a breeding ground. And once it happens in Pickering, you're going to see it like snowball or like dominoes, and it's going to start going through all these other little towns and municipalities. And, it's spreading like a cancer. What's happening right now is what's happening. And I'm doing my best to put an end to it. So the more that I try and fight against it, the more they censor me. They know, they want to take my pay away. They constantly trying to shut me up. They're turning off my mics. They're putting in reports to the integrity commissioner. They're saying nasty things online, and anyone who supports me or believes in the same values as I do. I mean, they don't even have to support me because, there's people that don't support me, but they agree with some of the things that I say. But if they say that, then they start getting called racist, Nazis, transphobic, homophobic, because that's all they have is they got nothing else. They're jealous.
I gotta ask, though, Lisa, why do you people care what slobs like this and like this have to say? Why do you care? What, you're going to be called racist by this? She has things hanging out of her nose made of fake gold that she buys at the dollar store. You care? If she calls you, like, what's the matter with you? Come on, Lisa, continue.
No.
Hey, look who it is. The smoker. Hey, there he is. Eddie, what's up?
Hi, Ed.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. They've never heard of that, have they?
Yeah.
No, they haven't.
That's what my mom always told me too, right? So no, I don't let the name calling get to me. It's just that, there's a lot of vile people out there, and when you have people like this spreading lies and mistruths, it does get to you sometimes. But the amount of support that I'm getting from all across Canada, it's outstanding every day. Emails, calls, messages of people saying stay strong, Lisa, you have so much more support than you even know. And it keeps me going. It keeps me honest, and it keeps me going. And like I mentioned in that speech, about Rob Ford, the way that he called out the councillors before, it's like I really valued him. And
I got to clarify something though, Lisa, because we have an international audience here. Yeah. Rob Ford was the former mayor of Toronto. He was a pretty hefty guy, but he's a very jolly man, very loving, caring guy who gave everybody in the city of Toronto his home phone number. And he literally called everybody back who ever called him. He was absolutely remarkable, this guy. You guys remember he was on the Jimmy Kimmel show and whatnot. Like, he was such a sweet guy, but physically his body was very ill. So he would take a lot of drugs to kill the pain within his body. And eventually we found out that he had cancer, and he passed away. And it was the wrong Ford brother that died. His brother, Doug Ford, announced he was going to run for mayor of Toronto, and then announced he was running for premier of the province of Ontario. Did so, gained 700 pounds, and killed hundreds of thousands of Canadians with his COVID policies. I think I got it all right. Okay, Lisa, continue.
Yeah, so, you know, I really, really admired Rob Ford a great deal. And, you know, I never got to meet him personally, but I remember when I was running in the election way back when, I was so impressed with him that I took one of my signs from Pickering and I went into Scarborough and I knocked it in the ground by myself, you know, and I put it next to his so I could take a picture of both of our signs together, because that's how much I admired him. And then I lifted up my sign and I went back to Pickering. But because of him, you know, I'm planning on bringing a motion or trying to bring a notice of motion at the next meeting where, you know, I actually want to follow his lead. And the notice of motion would be prohibiting any members of council, the CAO, any directors, any city staff, anyone who work, any employees, to be prohibited from accepting any gifts, benefits, or any other perks from lobbyist groups, specialty groups, vendors, and or distributors. So I'm hoping that, you know, one of my fellow councillors will actually second that motion for me. And we'll see how it goes from there, because like I said in my speech, you know, a lot of these councillors, a lot of these MPs, MPPs, they should be wearing badges on their jackets saying who supports them, because you can clearly see in their votes and all the corruption that's going on, who supports them. And you know what? We need to put a stop to this. We need to bring it back where we're fighting for the people and we're doing what's right by the people. But unfortunately, it's like, you know, a lot of these people in power, they only care about themselves. They only care about, you know, getting reelected again. So, you know, they get their pension, let's say, because like, you know, 2 terms, you get your pension, right? That's all they care about. Like, you know, when I first became a city councilor, they said, you know what, Lisa, don't get into anything controversial. Keep your head down, stay straight and narrow. Don't talk about anything so you get reelected. Well, I don't care about that. Obviously, I care more about the people. And I mean, I hope I will get reelected, because everyone can see I'm the only one that is.
Vote for Lisa Robinson. Don't be foolish. This is the only lady fighting for our rights. Lisa, we got another video to play here, and then we have another guest to bring on who's going to do some deep analysis of all of this. So let's throw this up. Give us the brief rundown. What's going on in this video? Go ahead.
Oh, this was a video on Tuesday night. So what happened was Mara Nagy, Councillor Mara Nagy there, she wants, they were bringing a motion forward so she can sit on the, sit at the FCM. So she wants an appointment and we're supposed to endorse her. Well, I wanted to say a little speech, which I can say tonight if you let me. It's very short, for reasons why I want to that I would oppose endorsing her to sit at the FCM. And I got the first couple lines out.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Okay, you're going to tell us that. You're going to say tonight what you could not say here.
Yes.
But let's play what happened. This is hilarious.
It is. Right. He turns my mic on and off constantly. Well, he turns it off. I keep turning it back on.
The mayor. That's right. The mayor does. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Back at all the discussion, Councillor. So if you want to speak to the motion, but don't criticize another member. I'll allow you that latitude. But I don't think you can do that. So,
Mr. Mayor, you're being very biased towards me.
I am being biased.
Well, that is not fair.
I am being biased.
You allow other councillors to speak derogatory language against me and also members of the public.
Not cases you bring in here. We don't need the conspiracy theorist.
And you will not allow me the same latitude, and you keep on cutting off my mic. That just shows your biasness.
You can challenge the chair if that's.
I would like to challenge the chair on this, and I know it's going to go to a vote, but I'm only one person. You're all going to vote against me.
We don't get to debate challenges of the chair. You're challenging my ruling. Is there a seconder for the challenge?
I challenge
There's
it
no
too.
second.
Of course there isn't.
Councillor, you don't have the floor. Councillor Pickles.
Speaking to the motion.
Yes, please.
Thank you. I'll be supporting the motion. I think Councillor Nagy has grown into the role very well.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
I'm all over
growing
the
all right.
place. Take it away, please, while I gather my brain cells. What's left of them? I just wanted to, where was it? Oh, eligible spending categories include blah, 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 blah. Do we have, or what is the do we have a definition? What is the definition?
Blah, 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 says Counselor Mara Nagy.
It was very well spoken.
Okay, so this is the shenanigans that goes on in city council in Pickering. As opposed to them discussing infrastructure, local economy, perhaps a summer festival that might bring some money into the city. The broken sewer pipe where Councillor Nagy goes and eats all, never mind. Hold on, wait. Where Councillor Nagy goes and eats all of her meals for free. They don't talk about any of that stuff. Okay, come back in. Remember, everything I say belongs to me, has nothing to do with this lady here. So, but they don't talk about these things. They're not talking about how to run the city. They're not talking about what the problems are and or the solutions are. Instead, what do? They complain about you and then tell you that you can't complain back. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I'm living rent-free in all of their heads right now. And I find that to be kind of amusing because like they seem to think that they were elected to, sit there and critique everything I say or do. I mean, because they're terrified of it, right? It's absolutely disgusting. And like, we are getting business done, but the thing is like, we're getting business done that should not be done. Everybody seems to be a yes nodder. It all has to do with like, group think. Nobody has any kind of critical thinking skills and nobody really wants to do their job. So for example, on that same night that this video is playing, we must have had about 19 agenda items that we had to get through. After the first 2 or 3, the other council members, Councillor Brenner, I think it was, made a motion to do a consent agenda. So what a consent agenda means, for those that don't know, that's taking all of those rest of those topics on the agenda that we haven't covered. So it'd be like, about 17 or so of them, and just pass them all without any kind of debate, conversation, or anything else. So then I'm saying, no, I want to pick out 4.2, 4.3, 4.9, 4.16, 4.17. I must have pulled 9 or 10 agenda items. And I was the only one that spoke to them because I wanted to ask questions because we're dealing with millions and millions of dollars and everybody else. And then it's like, 6-1 vote, 6-1 vote, 6-1 vote, because they don't care. They just want to pass the motions. And as you hear in that video, it's like, oh, Mara Nagy has grown into her position quite nicely, basically. And that's because she is a yes nodder. She doesn't ask questions. She doesn't do the research, nothing. And most of them don't. They just follow along to get things done. It seems like even though we get paid to do our jobs, we don't even have to respond to the public if we don't want to. If you send me an email, there's nothing mandating me to respond to you.
That is something that our other guest is going to answer to right now. Stefanos Karatopoulos, we have not seen this guy in just way too frigging long. Dude, hey, that's not your house. Did you steal a house? Oh, microphone. Dude, no way. That's Ed's old trick. No. Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Do mine. Here, I'll do some mine. Councillor Nagy. I'm sorry, that's lowbrow. No, I'm not sorry one bit.
Quit body shaming the girl.
Actually, I'm character shaming her.
Yeah.
I find her, and I find others like her, repugnant beyond reproach. It's just that I'm the only straight, white, middle-aged male who will say these things. It's incredible how so many males out there refuse to be men and state clearly the facts that all of us agree upon. Councillor Nagy, after watching her on CBC, the way that she behaved, especially with a nose ring sticking out of her nose as a city councillor and wearing a strapless dress, I was quite repulsed by everything about it. She just doesn't care. So
did you see the purple hair in the video? Her hair is bright purple again today. Yeah.
Purple again.
Yeah, it's purple again. If you could zoom in on that video there from Tuesday night, it's
Okay.
it's all
Imagine that,
purple
but
in
purple.
front.
Okay, there you go. That, but purple.
Yeah.
Like, how, like, what is, you're not 14. You're not 14. This is a thing that started about 8 or 9 years ago that I really started paying attention to, is women over 30 dyeing their hair blue and auburn and green. Like, but we're talking bright 1980s ski jacket colors, not real hair colors. And I'm just really trying to understand, what is the message?
I don't understand what it is. I don't understand.
Aside from the fact that I am a loser, what else could the message possibly be?
Yeah.
All right, Stefanos, let's try again, bro. You there?
How can you hear me?
I can. I'm just gonna.
Am I a little too loud or what?
Hold on. I've got it. I reduced everything down. There you go.
All right. Good. So first off, I got to lay my disclaimer. I don't share any of Kevin's views and stuff. What I'm going to express are my own views and from my own experiences. So whatever. And thanks for having me back. And if you
Oh yeah? Well, I don't like your face.
Oh no. So if you think you got it bad in Pickering, I was a little short notice here, unfortunately, and I got some videos for you to see. If you think you got it bad in Pickering, wait till you get a load of my videos. And we're talking violence. Forget name calling, okay? We're talking violence straight up by municipal councillors in West Lincoln, mayors, arrogance beyond belief. I got all this stuff. It's crazy. And why the government has
show about that then.
We will, but it's amazing to me that the government, the provincial government, has not done anything to address these issues. But last night, or sorry, not last night, Tuesday night, I was at representing probably around 100 people or so in Port Colborne, where council is out of control. They're trying to put, I think it's something like 61,000, 40,000 on 15 farmers to cover 200 and some people and put these costs on them, which the municipality should be, footing the bill. And they admitted during these meetings, to negligence over and over and over again and complete wrongdoing. But hey, that's the way it goes. So that's a developing story. Wayne Fleet down here in Niagara is out of control. They've done a lot of bad stuff there, and they're continuing a big problem. And what it comes down to is, remember with the municipal elections, I think it was 2 elections ago, when they had third-party advertisers until the court struck that down as being unconstitutional. But they were funded, a place called, one of them were A Better Niagara. They were funded by George Soros' son, I believe it was, or George Soros himself, one or the other. And it was all Antifa and Communist Party members that got in there, and they got themselves elected all over the place. Now, I've seen this happen everywhere, and this is what you're facing right now. And these Integrity Commission garbage, I don't know why on earth you are not bringing a constitutional challenge to this and bring a stop to the tribunals or boards, because you should know as well as I do that tribunals and boards are used to circumvent your rights, and they are not based in law. They are based in fairness and procedure. So you should not be challenging this garbage there. You should bring in an application to the Superior Court where you are going to be under law, and you will put a stay of the proceedings and continue that way. That you should. Another thing is that really irks my craw, whatever you want to call it, is this native stuff. You know, native treaties, all that stuff is federal jurisdiction, not municipal. So when it comes down to clean water and all this other garbage, that's federal. That's got nothing to do with municipal. It's out of their own scope of jurisdiction. I don't even know why they're doing this stuff aside of to virtue signal or to push an agenda forward that they have no jurisdiction to push forward to. And what I've been seeing in your case in particular, and I have sent you some messages in your messenger along with the case law from the last time you were on, so you should check it. And there's a lot of stuff going on here. Municipalities hate me because I am a pain in their behind, because I have held them accountable several times. There's news articles out there about them trying to stop people from recording meetings. Do not ever do that, because what they're putting on YouTube is being edited. So you got to have people there recording. They can't stop you. And if they call the police on you like they tried on us, the police just freaking walked away because they had already been sued for this already to begin with, and they lost. And there was constitutional declarations in it in the Niagara region against the region itself, plus the town of Fort Erie. There's all sorts of stuff going on. And when I brought it forward, when they tried to stop me from recording, I was bringing an application. And the day that I was going to actually serve them, I had written up the whole application and everything. The town of West Lincoln went miraculously made a change to the bylaw to allow everybody to record, because they know they cannot. This is public property. It's a public meeting, and you are allowed to record. They got you on camera because they got cameras in there. So you are allowed as a citizen journalist, a journalist or otherwise, and I am a journalist for the Ontario Landowners magazine. I am the reporter photographer. So, and they prevented me from recording, which that's what spurred the whole constitutional issue. I've had several newspapers, local newspapers from several different municipalities approach me for help, which I have helped them. And they thanked me, told me that what I do is extremely powerful, because that stopped the municipality from what I gave them and my help and the case law and everything else. It stopped them from trying to stop the local newspapers. Now, what's going on here, you probably already know. You don't have to say anything, so don't. I'm going to say it. Municipalities hold local newspapers hostages. They extort them, because if they put something the municipality doesn't like in their newspaper, guess what? The municipality pulls all the advertisement, and then they have nothing, and their newspapers go down, they go broke, and they lose, all this stuff. So I've been approached by several mayors for help. I've been approached by councillors for help, newspapers, you name it, all over the place, and I've helped them. I'm not going to mention their names, but if any of one of these douchebags that at Pickering like to come at me, bro. I'd love it. I'd so tear you apart in the courtroom. It wouldn't even be fun.
They're not coming after you. I mean, look, when CBC covered the story of me talking about this clown here, they actually left the words Pickering pedophile profile on it. When I've emailed him and the entire city council, and I've carbon copied that email to every newspaper in the country saying, hey, pedophiles, Lisa Robinson's coming back on the show. Would any of you like to rebut? Would any of you like to hear what she's got to say and maybe tell her or me that she's wrong and back it up with facts? And of course, ignored.
Well, Kevin, here's a great example. So on Tuesday at this meeting in Port Colborne, one of the degenerate counselors there turned around and started telling the members of the public to shut up, just all out, shut up, the arrogance. West Lincoln, the then mayor, he's not a mayor anymore, thank God, but the then mayor, he was so freaking arrogant. When we were telling him we're going to be cross-examining you on the stand, he was all smiles and great. But look who shit their pants and backed down and made a bylaw to allow everyone. We don't need a bylaw. Section 14.1 of the Municipal Act states what? That a municipality, they cannot interfere with a provincial or federal legislation or instrument of the crown. So they're in deep crap right there off the hop. So if Lisa's doing her job like she is doing and representing her constituents, who the hell is the mayor and council to tell Lisa or anybody else who Lisa's constituents are? They have no jurisdiction to do that. They have no, you need, and you know, either in section, I believe it's section 8 or section 9 of the Municipal Act states that you are recognized. I mean, this probably is recognized as a natural person and that the Constitution applies. I don't know why you're playing their stupid games and playing into their garbage with these boards. Go after them at the Superior Court and bring in a constitutional challenge. You are doing your duty, what you are to do, your free speech, or not even your free speech, but your constituents' speech. They cannot interfere because guess what? It's not a charter challenge. This is in the Constitution. It's outside of the challenge. Outside of the charter. It's not in the charter. Many people think that the charter is our Constitution. It's not. It's just a section in our Constitution. And in our actual Constitution, which is the British North America Act, and on through where the amendments were made in 1982, and that's why they call it 1982. So it includes all of it. That anything outside of the charter, they cannot use a notwithstanding clause and simply whisk it away. Canada, in the Constitution, democracy is guaranteed. So when they sit there and stomp on you and interfere with you and your voice, representing your constituents, the charter is not applying there. But the actual Constitution, where democracy is guaranteed, that's where it's applying. That's where you should be hitting them.
Steph, you're right. Hold on before anyone speaks. There you go. For everybody out there that wants to help Lisa with that exact challenge that Stefanos is talking about, it's not cheap, guys. Yeah, I know that Canadian lawyers tend to not take these things on pro bono. I'm not sure why that is in Canada, maybe just greed, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still worth the fight. So if you are living in Pickering, Eastern Toronto, Markham, Toronto itself, wherever it might be, the mayor, Kevin Ass, and Nagy and all the other city councilors out there want to strip you of every single right that you are guaranteed, that our forefathers fought and died for. Give, send, go. Give, send, go at the bottom of the page, givesendgo.com/real easy GB9DP. You know, you realize all those letters sound the same. I have to go phonetic. Golf Bravo 9 Delta Papa. There you go. Give, send, go. Please make sure that you donate to that. Lisa could use your help, but all of Canada could use your help. Don't anyone sit back and think that because Lisa's being picked on, somehow this is good for the country. It's really not good for the country. And for the Canadians out there who recall me getting arrested, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 22 times, because I was telling you, don't take those needles and don't wear masks. And God, there is just no pandemic at all. When I was telling you all of this stuff, I got arrested and Canadians applauded for that. Right? Just think through for a second here what the real message is. Lisa is fighting for freedom. Ed, me, and Stefanos back in 2021 were fighting for your lives. So we got to support each other, guys. We have to go to war with Mayor Kevin Ass, who is, as you can see, an absolute coward. And all the city councilors are absolute cowards, completely. Cowards are easily defeated. Ed, what's up?
2 points. Stefanos, if we have a democracy guaranteed in our Constitution, wouldn't that be a way of getting rid of the voting machines and go back to paper ballots?
I don't know, Ed. It's a good question, and possibly so. And if there is evidence out there that those machines were used to overthrow certain countries because it could manipulate them. And in Canada, I know when I was running for provincial office, one of my elections, I believe it's when they first brought them in, there was a student, a high school student, who sat outside the window of the voting place at the school and actually hacked the machines and manipulated the vote. So there's a serious problem there. From what I know, nobody is challenging the court. This is the problem with Canada. Nobody challenges crap. And this is why everybody's rights are slowly being eroded, because it's a slow creep, bit by bit, and they're doing this. What happens? I've been fighting the UN and their agendas here in Canada, and especially at the municipal level. This is where the most important that people need to pay attention to what's going on, because no one is paying attention to the municipal meetings. You got to show up there. You got to be there all the time, because that Agenda 21 is on the provincial and municipal levels. Agenda 2030 is the federal level. And the time period is 2035 for Agenda 21 to be implemented fully. And this is why we're seeing such tyrannical stuff going on. I've been from probably about the mid 90s in around there fighting this stuff for an extra long time. I have so many crazy videos of the bylaw, municipality, mayors, councils. And like I said, where straight up violence is being used against the people. And well, they were told, don't you dare try to assault me, because if you touch me, I'll exercise my right to self-defense, and you're not going to like it. So and that's what it comes down to, Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lisa, here's what I want to do. Lisa, I want you to tell Stefanos what's been directed at you or thrown at you by these nut job counselors and the mayor. And Stefanos, I want to get your commentary on the legality behind it. Go ahead, Lisa.
What you mean? How they've been stifling my voice, or the sanctioning,
the swearing, the screaming, the yelling. I mean, all of it. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, even just today, you know what they said, any of my people that support me, they are Nazis and they're racists. He's openly called residents of Pickering and beyond, you know, things like nutcases over a hot mic. And then when asked to apologize, he basically just apologized that he got caught over a hot mic, not for saying it. He openly calls me racist, transphobic, homophobic. It's nonstop name calling. And of course, the lies. There's so many lies, so much manipulation, you know, the twisting of the narrative, the twisting of my words, you know, to suit their agenda. It's really absolutely disgusting. And it's disgusting that these are the leaders of, like, you know, of our municipalities.
Right. So here's what I'm going to suggest. One, you fire off a crap load of defamation lawsuits to the ones calling you Nazi and all this other garbage that they're saying, because clearly there's no evidence to support it. So that's just the intent is there to harm your reputation. So that's the intent part. You know what the tests are for defamation. It clearly meets it. So I would be dropping several lawsuits against whoever it is on council, make them all separate, not as a whole, hold them all accountable individually, turn around, bring the Constitution in. Like I told you, constitutional challenge, Hashem, no, Section 1 does not apply because this is not within the charter. So the notwithstanding clause only applies within the charter, not the rest of the Constitution. So they can't whisk anything away. So I would bring a constitutional challenge on that part of representing your constituents, because it is democracy, and that is how it's done. If these councillors and mayor don't like it, well, tough beans. This is the Constitution, and that's what it's there for. And as far as the other stuff goes, being caught over a hot mic, bullshit, pardon the language, but that's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter if you're caught on a hot mic. You said it. That is a criminal charge. If nobody wants to proceed, so let me tell you, police down here in Niagara are a bunch of criminals, period. And that's been proven over and over again in all the drugs that they've been involved in, drug smuggling, taking weapons out of the evidence lockers and selling them back onto the streets to be used in crimes again. There was a royal inquiry on that, and they were all found guilty on that. Any of that stuff. So the police are not going to act because they're regional police aka municipal police, so it's the municipality that hires them. They don't want to go against the hand that feeds them, so they will not lay the charge. So I don't know if you reported the beheading part to the police or not, but if they don't bring a private charge, I'll be happy to help you with that. I've done 4 of them. I have no problems, and I've done them against bylaw officers and other various individuals. But if you'd like to do that, I can help you out with that. Not a problem, because that's a death threat straight up, and I'll give you a hand with that. I'll even prosecute the mother effers. I don't have a problem with that. And if the Crown tries to step in, thanks to Stephen Harper making changes to afford political tyrants protections by saying that the Crown can step in and throw them out, which they couldn't before, we'll bring a constitutional challenge to that too, because we all have a right to justice. So that's not a problem either. So I'm in for the long haul. This is what I do. I don't charge anything, obviously, and I have no problems doing all this stuff. These people are not my friends. I don't like them. I don't like any elected official that has tried to do it. And one more thing, CPAC. I imagine that when you did your interview there, it was in Queen's Park. I'm just guessing here. Was it Queen's Park?
Ottawa. I was in Ottawa.
You were in Ottawa in Parliament.
Yeah, in Parliament. Yeah, I was in West Block.
Okay, excellent, great. So guess what? So when I had a former MPP, Jack McLaren, the only one who was in office in the provincial legislature, who's a great friend of mine, and who was the only person who was fighting for the people. And Patrick Brown, that little douchebag, turned around and after we had him elected, got him elected. You know, he's a little short prick, and he was hugging me. Oh, Stefano, thanks for getting, I can't thank you enough for getting me elected. You got one of your shirts. My shirts is the Ontario landowners, private property, back off government. And I want to put it on. Thanks a lot, guys. I drove that little prick around from airport to airport and around to all the places in Niagara region and everything. We flew him around. We got that little prick elected. And as soon as he got elected, he silenced Jack. We knew something was up because Jack always spoke at our gatherings and everything. And all of a sudden, Jack was silent. He wasn't able to speak. You should look it up. And so then what happened, these guys, they use people to get elected, and then they go full-blown tyrant. So we need to really push back against him. We need to hold him accountable. And the only way we're going to hold him accountable is by bringing him into the courts, bringing him to constitutional challenges. Our problem is nobody. And I'll tell you, my challenge with any person that I'm helping out, be it bylaw issues, zoning issues, whatever it might be, you can't get them to act. That's because people, and they know this, people don't want to have problems. They don't want to be tied up in the courts. But guess what? When you don't enforce your rights, you get steamrolled, they get eroded, and then all of a sudden you have no rights. So I'm the kind of a prick who will come in with a sledgehammer. I'm not this guy. You'll hear a lot of people saying, well, you get more bees with honey. No, it doesn't work like that. And they know this. And this is how they operate and screw you over. So I come in with the sledgehammer. It might be a little bit too much, but I'll take the too much than too little or nothing at all.
All right. Well, I've been told myself, Stefanos, that I'm an intense guy. I've even had judges tell me, Mr. Johnston's very intense. His facial expressions are actually quite terrifying when he talks on his show. Yeah. So intense is good, man. We need more intensity. You know what intensity means? It means hypermasculinity. We could use a whole lot more of that in the world. Hold on. We have a very lovely lady here. Excuse me, counselor.
Yes.
Are weak beta cuck males like the ones you work with attractive, or are the hard-hitting, hardcore, big brick S houses with muscles and very masculine attitudes sexy? Which ones are better? Let's hear this. An intelligent woman's about to tell us, guys, if the beta cucks or the alphas are better. We're listening.
We definitely need Elphys in the world.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm not listening to this, all right? I'm just cutting myself out of this part. But sorry, Lisa. Listen, so what I wanted to say about Jack was one day when Jack left the PC Party of Ontario and went to the Trillium Party, he had Dave Menzies coming down to do an interview with him from Rebel. And they were texting us, telling us that Queen's Park won't let us in. And so I went down with Jack and I told security guard, you know, what the hell's going on here? And they said, well, Queen's Park media said that Rebel media is not allowed in the legislature. So I told her, I put her straight, I set her straight with the Constitution. She stood there for about 10 minutes and had her mouth open, didn't know what to say. And then she said, give me another 10 minutes. I'll come right back and we'll get him right in. And then Dave Menzies was allowed to come in and do this. So this is what happened to your CPAC. This is why, just speculation, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is why they weren't allowed to share your video you done.
Actually, David Menzies was actually in our chambers a couple of months ago, just before we broke for summer recess. And again, he was recording and the security came up to him and then he had a police escort him out of our chambers.
Of course.
And because one of the new rules is that even if media is going to stay there and record, we have to have 2/3 votes. Well, of course, I brought the motion forward to see if my fellow councillors would allow David Menzies to stay and record our meeting. And of course, not even one person would second that as well. So that clearly just shows, you know what, they're afraid to have media there. They don't want anyone there that's going to be able to, you know, sit there and tell the world, like, you know, what's really happening with all these draconian measures that they have in place. It's sad.
I'll tell you this. I'll be happy to come up to your chambers and record until I'm arrested because I have so much case law on this. Yeah, again, you know, pardon the English and no insult to you, but municipalities are scum. They're the bottom feeders. They eat the garbage off the bottom. They are the lowest of the low, and they are subservient to supremacy of law. And the Constitution goes way above council chambers. You don't need a vote. You don't need anything. You're on public property. The courts, well documented, anybody can record. Doesn't matter if it's a person. Doesn't matter if it's a reporter. You're recording your meetings because you're on public property. You're on camera by them. This is already stated in the case laws, Supreme Court of Canada. So, like I said, come and arrest me. I'll come there. Come and arrest me. Please arrest me. You know, I'll have a constitutional challenge immediately. I have no problems getting arrested. And that's the thing. Get arrested. Don't sit back and not get arrested and leave and stop recording. Now your rights have just been eroded. So you cannot do a cowardly act like that. You have to enforce your constitutional rights. And if it means to get arrested, then get freaking arrested and then bring the constitutional challenge. They will lose 100% guaranteed because of the amount of case law that's there. Kevin, you know how you just said about you being so menacing on camera or whatever they said. Fred Bracken's case, Fred Bracken versus town of Fort Erie. Fred was in there with his megaphone, shaved bald. He's a big guy. He's loud. They brought the police and arrested him because he was recording the meeting. Well, what happened? What in the case law? And what did the judge say in that case law? Fred's a big guy. He's an intimidating guy. He's a loud guy. But that's no cause to fear for your safety because that's the bullshit line they always go for. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm not feeling safe.
That's happening in our council chambers. You're absolutely right.
I'm right.
Yes,
Right.
this guy here, yeah, Stefanos, this guy here, Kevin Mayer Ass of Pickering, is screaming at women all the time, yet he is frightened by the prospect of a little old video camera being in there, even if it was being held by a woman. Actually, he'd probably scream louder because this guy here, he needs to get in the boxing ring with a real man. I mean, I would love a shot at this guy, but
yeah, I don't want to resort to that. All right, just leave the violence part out of it. But
I didn't say I was going to. I just said I want to.
The point is, I'm speaking from personal experience. I have experienced this firsthand. This is, imagine that, Lisa. This is how I know, because I've faced this tyranny head on, face to face. This is not anything new. I know this. And you know what the biggest problem in municipalities is staff. Because I've had mayors come to me for help and counselors, because staff is threatening mayors and counselors that if they don't do what they are bringing forward, that they will sue them. Well, go ahead and try, because staff is only there for if council and mayor are not clear on something, they need more information, you're going to refer it back to staff to go get your stuff. They're just a bunch of gophers. They run the corporate part of it all. But the elected are the ones that represent the people, and the elected are the ones that say what goes on there. They are above staff, not staff controlling mayor and council. If staff's controlling mayor and council, the mayor and council are negligent in their action because they didn't do their due diligence. They don't answer to staff. Staff answers to mayor and council and to the people. That's why they're there.
Well, that's what's happening at ours as well. Is like, staff are telling council what to do, and council is following it along. And even like, I want to bring motions forward. Now it's gotten to the point where the CAO is telling me you can't bring any motions forward unless, you let staff look at them first. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? What is this? Oh yeah, it's in our policy now. Oh yeah. So they want to see our motions before we bring them forward. It's absolutely ridiculous, because I'm sorry, they are not elected officials. And I mean, I understand they have a job to do, and they probably hate that every 4 years, some of the council members change and whatnot. But they just seem to rule over us, and that's the way that it is. And they're very, very smug about it too. And now that the crazy thing is that even because like I'm speaking up so much now, I walk into the room, nobody even says hi to me. None of the directors will say good morning, Councillor Robinson, or good afternoon, Councillor Robinson. They all turn their heads the other way and they ignore me, right? As if I'm like a piece of garbage, below their foot or something. And, just that attitude alone by people like that is just like, grow up. Get the hell out of the sandbox, because you know what? You should not be in the position that you're in. If you cannot agree to disagree and have a civil conversation, say good morning, say good afternoon, respect one another, and you got to play these little games, you do not belong in a position of power. You don't.
Yeah, it's not even that. Like, it even goes back to, so when you run for office, I've run for mayor and stuff. So I've run for provincial office. So I know how all this garbage works. But the thing is, when you're running municipal council, you have a councilor's guidebook. And in that councilor's guidebook, you are to read certain legislation, such as the Constitution. And it states in there that you are to read, know, and understand these pieces of legislation. And it's very clear. And I've trapped planners, I've trapped council, I've trapped mayors, and I do it at public meetings. I trap them so bad, because I'll ask them flat out, have you read the Municipal Act in its entirety, or are you just cherry picking? And they'll say, no, we just went to this section. There is court ruling after court ruling that they must read the act in its entirety to see if it's tying into any other acts, which they must read into its entirety, and then go to other acts. So there is court ruling after court ruling on this stuff. And if they don't read their councilor's guidebook, and they are not following what it says and simply just saying, let me collect the check, staff, tell me what to do, and I'll do it. Like, I ask people, and this is the biggest in-your-face thing that people do not see. Tell me, why is it that when there is a meeting on something and the agenda is put out, that on the agenda They will say what motion or whatever passes and what fails and what bylaws approved ahead of time when you haven't even had the meeting and had any discussion during the meeting or the meeting even occurred. Why? Because the freaking town clerk is orchestrating everything. It's just a freaking horse and pony show. And this is how it is. Now, if that's not unconstitutional, I don't know what is.
Yep. No, absolutely. And like, at the beginning when the mayor and everyone was talking to me, I would get text messages before a meeting saying, you know what, I really want this to pass tonight. And like, I hope you're going to be on board. I'd like to see everybody on board. And,
so vote in advance, right? They're telling you how to vote.
Yeah, that was exactly it. But also, when we were at the AMO in Ottawa 2 weekends ago, it's a big show. There's a lot of vendors there. So I'm out there. And of course, I'm not speaking with my fellow councillors or anything. I'd meet them when we had to meet up with a couple of ministers. But other than that, I was on my own in the show. So as I'm there and I'm talking to all these different vendors, they're all saying, oh, yes, Casey, you're from Pickering, Councillor Robinson. We've been speaking with so-and-so. We have a great relationship with them. And I understand that you're going to be taking this product on, let's say, that we're coming to you. And I'm like, it hasn't even come to council yet. And you're already telling me that, okay, this is like pretty much a sure thing already. And then, it was mind-boggling. I was like, I didn't understand it. And then also every night at the AMO, there were parties to go to that were put on from these vendors. There would be like 6 parties a night, free booze, like free alcohol, free food. And, all of the MPs that were there, well, not all of them, but I mean, a lot of the MPs that were there, a lot of the mayors and a lot of the city staff and a lot of the councillors, they would go out to these free venues, right? And rub arms with these vendors and, build that relationship. So when they come there, it was quite sickening to see. So I went to one of the parties right after the very first night that I was there. I had one drink and I left because I was like, you know what? I'm not playing part of this game. And what I want to know is that with all of that going on, how come nobody fills out a statement of disclosure? You have these vendors and lobbyists sitting there giving you free drinks and free food, but I bet you not anybody has filled out a statement of disclosure for it. I don't.
I'm just going to say this. So ICLEI used to be ICLEI in Ontario, and too many people caught on to ICLEI. And then everybody, all the people started putting the pressure on the municipalities to withdraw from ICLEI. That's the UN. That's the United Nations. Everybody knows this. So they started losing all of these memberships. I think it was something along, it could be up as high as 75,000, depending on how big a municipality was for their membership. Then they went and changed their name, and their name is now the Canadian Federation of Municipalities. And hell, guess what? AMO. What's AMO? Is AMO a government organization? No, AMO is a charity. It's a charity. So it's NGO. Here we go. They claim themselves they are non-governmental, but guess what? They get funded by the government, and you forgot to include MPPs in that statement.
Yes, they do.
Okay. All right, hold on, guys. Hold on a second here. I just got to remind everybody, if you're watching on TikTok, I need you all to share this video right now. We only have 10,300 views. We got to get to 15,000. It really helps ramp it up the algorithm. Double fingers, everyone. Just keep tapping. Get the likes going. It's free to do. We do appreciate that. And directly below Ed's face there, he'll give you all that cash in his hand if you just click the thumbs up button. Click the thumbs up button below Ed's face there, please. It does help Rumble get us to the front page. So like, share. And also, everyone, Lisa, this lovely lady here, has got a legal challenge coming up. So if you could please head over to Give, Send, Go. That's GiveSendGo.com/GB9DP. Golf Bravo 9 Delta Papa. That's it. GiveSendGo.com/GB9DP. Please get that done. Lisa could really use your help because Lisa is the only politician right now fighting for you. Oh, by the way,
There's actually a couple politicians. I know a couple other municipalities that.
why aren't they on this show? Derek Sloan. He promised to come on 5 times, Lisa. Derek Sloan, 5 times. And all 5 times he backed out. So where are they?
You'll never see them. I know a lot of side stuff about Derek Sloan and Bernier and everything else. That's for another time. I won't see it now. But
later. I'm just saying that if you want to prove that you actually are for the people, everybody, if you're a politician in Canada, come on this show. No one's more real and raw than me. That's for damn sure.
They're afraid they're going to get an integrity commissioner report like I am.
Stefanos.
Yeah.
When they say building relationships, is that how you go like this and you go here?
Absolutely. You got to look, Ed, I'm a politician. If you want me to do something for you, you got to throw me a bunch of money. That's not literal, people. That's just being, semantics here. We're just screwing around. But yes, that's exactly how it works.
Oh, there's
it's all about grease. Okay, Lisa. Okay, tell us about the grease. What's going on?
Since I have been speaking out, I've actually been having employees from the city of Pickering reaching out to me and telling me a lot of the secrets that have been going on, a lot about the nepotism, a lot about past counselors that were getting, that were getting free work done on their houses and stuff by the staff, their gardens done, all kinds of juicy stuff. And a lot of people have been reaching out to me.
I'm listening.
Yeah, there's a lot of it going on. There's even rumors. Well, we all know that they go on free trips and free basketball games, free hockey games, free golf. We get all that. And what they do a lot of times as well is that so they don't get caught, they take the tickets and they give them to somebody else in their family or to friends, right? And then they go with them. So they don't have to write do the disclaimer of their gifts and benefits, right? It's pretty
unbelievable. Well, yeah, I totally get that. But you know what, Lisa, that type of thing, even when I was running for mayor of Mississauga, there were people that would throw cash at me and say, hey, listen, if you win, you're going to give me a job, right? It's weird how everybody feels that it's a good idea to start throwing cash at absolutely everybody to get everything that they want. And it turns out that almost every politician in Canada is doing it, more so than Latin American countries are doing it. And there's absolutely no punishment for it. Like, Canada is very light on white collar crime. So if you want, hey, look, everybody in India and Pakistan who like to steal, come to Canada, run for office, steal money. No one's going to do a thing. No one's going to stop you.
Yeah, wow. I don't even have developers reaching out to me anymore to go to lunches or anything. It's crazy, right? Because I do speak the truth. And you know what? It's not that I'm against development. It's just that I don't like the lies that when they come to city council and they try and hide the lies, they only tell you partial truths. So I ask questions and I dig until I get the answer, because I usually don't ask the question unless I actually know the answer to it. And because I do this, it's like nobody wants to take Councillor Robinson to lunch anymore. Nobody wants to give her a ticket to a basketball game or anything, because we are allowed to accept them up to a certain amount, right, per year. But nobody calls me anymore. So if you look at everybody else you see on the lobbyist registry, developer meeting with Councillor Nagy, Councillor Cook, Councillor Pickles, the mayor. You don't see Councillor Robinson anywhere for the longest time.
Wow.
So that's okay. I can buy my own lunch. Yeah.
Well, yes, you can. You got your salary back. So
yeah. I pay for my own golf games. I'm happy with that, right? I am.
So
wait, hold on. Wait. Golfer? What do you shoot per game?
I'm a golfer. Yes.
And what do you shoot per game?
Well, you know what? I'm probably sitting at about an 18 handicap right now, because I only got out a few times this year, which is kind of sad. I think I've only had 4 games, maybe 5 games this year, but they've all been 9 holes. I haven't even played a full 18 holes yet this year. I
usually shoot about 180. 10 per hole. That's just how it is.
Wow.
Well, my driver, 3 wood, 7 iron, all go the same distance, all of them. So I just play the whole course with a 7-iron now. I've given up. Hey, 7-iron putter, or from time to time, lacrosse stick, and putter. That's it.
I'll need like a 300 handicap per hole, all right? So I don't even know, but pretty bad. Some funny things that people don't understand, and you'll find a lot of municipalities, especially rural municipalities, are always against development. But developers love me, and I love development, and they are always upfront with me, and I'm always upfront with them. Now, what people don't understand is you need development, because that expands your tax base, and that money goes to your infrastructure. And if you do not develop at all in any municipality, your property tax rates are going to go skyrocketing through the roof. You're going to have crappy infrastructure. Look at
well, that's not always true either. I got to stop you there, Steph.
No, but you do need.
No, because the reason I'm going to stop you is because, we got a casino here in Pickering, and we get millions of dollars a year, and we actually give $4 million to Durham region out of the goodness of our heart each year. And, with all this new development, that's what they always say. Oh my goodness, we're going to get all this development. Like, it'll be better on your taxes, better on your taxes. No, you should see every single year, our taxes are increasing by so much. That's the biggest problem that we're having here in Pickering, because, once the government gets your money, they're not going to lower it again. So it doesn't matter how many buildings we come in here right now. It's not going to lower our taxes unless somebody actually comes in and says, you know what, we're going to use that, let's say $20 million that we're getting from the casino. Stop giving $4 million to Durham region too, out of the goodness of our hearts, and give that money as a rebate to the constituents. That's the only way their property taxes are going to go down.
Yeah,
that is going to go up, up, up. It's not going to stop.
I'll agree with you there, but not every municipality has a casino, so it's going to be through tax base and through development. And when it comes down to you have a lot of development in your area, and your taxes don't go up and they go up instead, that comes down to a corrupt mayor and council.
Exactly.
That comes, and I don't disagree with you on that. You're absolutely correct. But what I'm saying is legit. That's the way it is supposed to work. Now, look at Rob Ford. Look at how much he brought taxes down for the city of Toronto. So, it didn't go up, up, up until Rob was gone. Now, look, it's up, up, up. And that's also, especially in rural area right now, that's because the municipalities are following the Agenda 21 municipal primers from the United Nations of smart growth to stop development. And what do they call that? Urban sprawl, right? So there's that, right? So development, and they want intensification, smart growth, all this bull crap. And that is because of the United Nations. All of this, the UN, our MPs, our MPP, right, and the United Nations, all that is interference, foreign interference in Canada. And we have the CSIS report on that. Our association does. We are working with them to expose this and bring it forward. So there may be help on the horizon coming because they are seriously taking a serious look at this. I can't go into the extent of it, obviously, because I'm not allowed to, but this is something that's being looked into, and it's going to be coming forward at some point in time. Who knows when that will be, but we are working with them to expose this and stop this foreign interference that's going on in Canada right now. And that's why your property tax goes up. So when you stop me and say it's not true, it's true. It's just who is in power at the time. And when you have casinos like we do in Niagara Falls, and the casinos vacuum up all the money from everyone, they take the $5, $10, $20, $50 slot machines out, and they put you all pennies and nickel slot machines in, because now they need to vacuum up what's left, and they literally bust the seniors into the casinos, and they make it look like, oh, it's just 5 cents or just a penny. But look, you're playing 5, 10, 20 lines, so it ends up coming up even more than $1 slot machine that you're throwing each time you're going on the max. Because if you don't bet the max, you don't get the jackpot. But I'm not going to give everyone a casino lesson here. But that's just the way it is. It is a corruption at the core, and it starts at the head from mayor and council and everybody else who's corrupt. Instead of lowering your property tax, they're raising it because they're following a foreign, unelected body of bureaucrats, Marxist bureaucrats, must I say, known as the UN. They're following their municipal primer, and they are trying to force people off their land to lose their lands so they can take it. There's only 13 point something % that is in private ownership of land in Canada. There is no overpopulation. The rest is all owned by the crown. All right. So people need to understand what the hell is going on here.
That's it.
All right, Steph, give us a second here. So, Lisa, everything that Stephanos is talking about here has everything in the world to do with the fact that you are the only city councillor in the city of Pickering, right next door of Toronto, who comes out and just tells the truth from a common sense standpoint. Yet, you're the only one that gets screamed at by the mayor. You're the only one whose microphone gets shut off when you're trying to speak in city council. And on top of all that, the gutless staff, the mayor and the rest of the city councilors are trying to have a new law written specifically to have you thrown out. So really, I got to get your take on the types of people that they are. Because my opinion, you know what my opinion is. I told you I've refrained from being as callous as I'm capable of in reference to them. But I want to get your take on this because you work with these people every day. Now, what is it about them that leads them down the pathway of behaving like this? Please, I got to hear this.
I think it's just basically corruption. I mean, there's nothing else. You know what? They've had a taste of, of people doing things for them, and they like it, and that's a tough thing, especially for, someone for like Mara, who's young, and all of a sudden, like, she gets to go to hockey games and basketball games and take her
you can eat buffets
and take her new husband with her. It's thrilling for some people, right? It's easy to corrupt somebody if you're a coward and you don't know the difference between right and wrong, then you're easily corrupted. And that's exactly what's happening. It's sad, and she talks about, oh my goodness, we need no more cricket pitches in Pickering. Why? Well, because her new husband, he plays cricket. It's like, so this has nothing to do with the people. This has to do with her husband. And, you see that with all of the counselors. They do something that, is going to benefit them or benefit their family. And, then they get the developers to back them up. They get the money for this, that, and the other, just so they can turn around, pat themselves on the back for helping their own family and friends. Nothing about the people. The people are like sitting here, they're upset. Like, we've actually had people crying in our council chambers because, like, they're going to put these big developments behind their house and they're going to lose the sunshine in the backyards, or, they're going to have people looking down. They're going to have no more privacy. They're literally crying while they're sitting there at council, and council's sitting there like the mayor. He's watching a goddamn baseball game or a hockey game or something on his cell phone. And I mean, we've even seen that because he's openly said that in a meeting. Well, we're talking about millions of dollars. Oh, sorry, I was just watching the game. It's like, they don't care. They don't care. If it doesn't have anything to do with them, they just don't care. And it's sad that this is happening. And then, then they want to push people and have like Councillor Nagy sit at the FCM, just like what Stephanos was just saying, right? It's a horrible thing. And saying, oh my goodness, you've grown into your position. Yeah, you've grown into your position of being a yes nodder, not having any kind of critical thinking skills whatsoever. It's just completely group think. And that's what it comes down to. So in saying that, I don't know if I have a minute that I can just read quickly what I want to say.
You were going to make a speech in city council and you were forbidden from doing so. Go. You're up. In fact, you get the whole screen.
It's very quickly. So it was, I strongly oppose the endorsement of Councillor Marinagi for any appointment to the Federation of the Canadian Municipalities, which is called the FCM, standing committees, working groups, or forums. Councillor Nagy has repeatedly demonstrated behavior that undermines the very principles of democracy. Her active push to amend the Municipal Act, seeking to grant councillors the power to remove elected officials, represents a direct attack on the democratic process. This proposal aims to strip the people of their fundamental right to choose and remove their representatives, thereby eroding public trust in our democratic institutions. Moreover, Councillor Nagy's track record reveals a troubling pattern of unethical behavior. She has consistently shown a willingness to represent only special interest groups, neglecting the diverse needs and voices of the broader community. This selective representation is unacceptable for someone seeking higher responsibilities, and it is clear indication that she does not prioritize the interests of all citizens. Her frequent misrepresentation of facts and spreading of misinformation further undermines her credibility. Endorsing Councillor Nagy would be tantamount to endorsing dishonesty, which stands in direct opposition to the values of transparency and accountability that we as politicians must uphold. Furthermore, her divisive leadership style has fostered an environment of exclusion rather than unity. By focusing on special interest groups at the expense of the wider community, Councillor Nagy has proven that she is not committed to representing all constituents fairly and justly. For these reasons, I cannot support the endorsement of Councillor Marinagi for any role within the FCM. Doing so would be detrimental to the values of democracy, ethical governance, and fair representation that we should all strive to protect as politicians.
Okay, well, commendable. I love it. And this is something that you were not allowed to say in City Council with with Councillor Nagy present, or anyone else for that matter.
No, as soon as I said the word undemocratic, my mic was getting shut off. We were having this little battle back and forth. Turn it on.
By this guy here.
Turn it off. Yeah.
Yeah, by this guy here, everybody. The guy who can't wait to make it so that naked men will be in a change room with your children. That's the guy, everyone.
I just don't understand. All of council doesn't care about that. They do not care. And then they make up excuses saying, well, the doors, everybody has their own cubby. It's like, no, I can fit halfway under the doors. I can climb over the doors. So how easy is it for somebody who's smaller than me? And I mean, I'm small, but there's a lot of people smaller than me, like teenagers or whatnot, that can go right under the doors and do whatever they want. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. We've had so many emails of women being disgusted that their child is in there and seeing the back ass of a man, which has happened. We've had a man open up a door on a 12-year-old girl while she's going to the bathroom. Now, that was probably a mistake, but you know what? That poor man then had the police called on him for a mistake. I've had men sitting there sending me emails and calling me directly and saying, Councillor Robinson, I'm a grown man. I do not want to be changing in the same room as a little girl.
You're damn right. I don't either.
So it's not only the women that are, really, really uncomfortable with this. It's grown men because, like I said, a man opened up a door on a 12-year-old child. And now, the police have to go and find out who he is. That is absolutely disgusting. And of course, what happens? Rumor mill always happens, right? So.
Yeah, well, that's definitely the Canadian way is rumor mill. Nobody ever looks at anything. They look at nothing objectively at all. So.
Like, when you try to play that telephone game in gym class, remember? And you'd whisper in the person's ear in gym class. And by the time it got back to the end of the circle, it was completely something different.
Yeah, I'm one of those kids that used to screw it up, but I know exactly the game. Telephone, we used to call that one.
Yeah, telephone. Well, that's exactly what it feels like sitting here in council. I brought my motions forward for my constituents. They lied and said that there was something completely different. They said I was against flying just the pride flag. They said that I was trying to get rid of the universal change room. Like the lies that they did, I lost my income on it. I was unable to provide for my family, pay my mortgage, or spend a decent Christmas with my child.
I got you.
Because of these rumors that they are the ones that are perpetuating, because
Yeah.
I refuse to political posture to special groups like they want me to.
Lisa, we're out of time. You got 60 seconds for your closing remarks. Go ahead.
No, really, you know what? I don't really have a lot in the way of closing remarks. I think I've said enough right now, but I appreciate being back on your show. I appreciate all the support that I'm seeing from, everybody who's watching the show right now. And I really, really appreciate all of the text messages, the emails that I'm getting, for, words of support. And I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful. Sometimes I just feel like giving up, but that's just not going to happen. So
no, you're not a quitter at all.
I'm definitely not a quitter. So, they can keep on throwing these punches at me. And you know what? It's just making me stronger and stronger. And it's getting me to be more vocal and vocal, because somebody needs to do it. And I have been put in this position at this time in all of our lives for this very reason. My mom raised a very strong daughter, and she might not have liked it so much when I was younger, but now she's very proud of me, and that's all I can ask for. I'm very blessed.
Good job, Ma. Good job. Well, Lisa, always a pleasure. We'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Yes, great. Thank you very much, and have a great evening.
Lisa Robinson, City Councilor, Pickering. Okay, Stefanos, Eddie, we're out of time. Steph, great to see you again, man. We miss having you here. We really do. It's always great. Usually what I do is I keep a tally of how many cigarettes the two of you smoke. And typically you win. So, good job. Not really. All right. Closing remarks, brother. Closing remarks. Go ahead.
Awesome, Kevin. You're damn right. I'm the smoking chimney that puts fires out when we're in trouble with government. Okay, don't forget that. So there was a comment by NYCC, and he said, or she, whoever, how did we get, this is such a mess. How did we get here? Well, I'll tell you how. Because Canadians inaction. People are not enforcing your rights. You need to enforce your constitutional rights, not sit back and think somebody else will take care of it, or something else is going to happen, or just go along for the ride. That's eroding your rights, and you're going to lose those rights when you do that. So we really need to enforce our rights. That's the bottom line, and that's how we got here. And that's about it. Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed the show. It was great. Lisa's awesome. Ed, you're always awesome. Kevin, man. Okay, Kevin. Great.
Oh, my God.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Thanks a lot.
Stefanos Karatopoulos, everyone. Always a pleasure to have him as well. All right, Ed. You got a full minute and a half. Whatever are you going to do with that much time? Go ahead. What's up?
Quickly, what Stefanos said, I'll say it again. And guys, you've seen the caliber of the people on these councils. Come on. I'm sure most of the people watching this show are 10 times better than these people. Okay, the money's not that great, but you know what? By not doing anything, by allowing these clowns to become council members and mayors, this is what we got. They're ripping us off, and they got no qualms about it. You want to do something right for your country? Run for political office, or team up with someone that is and help them get elected. Support them. You can't expect things to get better if you're just going to sit on the couch and type in the odd comment or do the odd post or make the odd meme. It ain't happening. You got to take action. I'm actually thinking about running for politics myself.
I think you should. I think you should. I mean, it'd be amazing. You'd be the guy who's on that racist Kevin J. Johnston show. It'd be awesome. Free press for you galore, bro. They'll hammer you, and it's all free.
Where are they going to hammer him? 280 pounds, 6'3". Go ahead, hammer me. Antifa tried. Nothing happened.
Yeah, they try everything except wiping their own butts. Ed, thanks for being here, bro. We'll see you next week.
Tuesday, later.
Ed Janusek, everyone. Ed Janusek. All right. We've known him now for how long? 6.5, 7 years. It is a wild time in our country, everybody. And Ed is absolutely right. Stefanos was right. Stefanos said Canadians in action. got us here. And Ed is now encouraging you to take action and run for public office. Now, let me do this. Let me address the men. I'll make it real easy for you. When you run for mayor of a large city and you put on a really good campaign and you're out there talking to a lot of people, it's a great way to make new friends. And guys, you meet a lot of women. It's not a lot. You meet a lot of ladies out there, and Canada still has some pretty good looking women out there. So go for it. Meet new friends, meet new business partners, meet a new lover. You never know. But whatever it is, expand your horizons and take a chance, man. What are you sitting at home for? Watching the Maple Leafs lose again? Or how about watching the Blue Jays, none of whom are Canadians? Hey, what are you doing? Netflix is not Canadian. Amazon Prime has a new Batman show on it where the Penguin is a woman. I saw that. I watched it for 8 seconds and I turned it off. This is the trash that you're wasting your time with. Stop it. Run for public office. Expand everything about you. Trust me, guys. You're absolutely going to love it. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Kevin J. Johnston Show that runs every single Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on freedomreport.ca. I love you all and good night.